So last class, I remember we discussed still the definition of RMS value, right? So we saw what is alternating current, and I explained what is the meaning of each value of the alternating current over a complete cycle. Then I defined what is the actual definition of average value. Then we stopped with the definition of RMS value, which is also known as effective, or we also call it as virtual. So what does this mean? If you recollect, let's recollect the definition once. So it is defined as the value of what? Value of the direct current, which produces the same heating effect in a given resistor as produced by the given alternating current in the same amount of time. So it is denoted by IRMS or IV or I effective. Okay. Now we need to derive a relation between the peak value of the alternating EMF and the average, RMS value. For example, if I ask you the relation between the average value and the peak value, what will you say? So average value to 0. Last class we derived.
37.
6, 7.
It is E average is equal to 0.637 times E naught, right? In a similar way, you have a definition, you have a mathematical value for the RMS value in terms of the peak value of the EMF. So remember, RMS is the equivalent direct current. E naught is the amplitude of the alternating current. So don't get confused, okay? Let me show you the derivation. Okay. Now let's say, let us say in time dt, okay? You remember this, right? You have a resistor. Across the resistor, you have connected an EMF source, an alternating EMF source, whose value is E is equal to E naught into sine omega t. Okay. Across the same resistor R, you have connected an RMS, you have connected a DC source whose potential difference is ERMS, right? So we will be sending the current using both the devices for some amount of time, and if for the same amount of time, okay, so you're sending current for some amount of time. No, if in the same amount of time, the is equal to the cross in this, I
Sir,
can
you are
call
not
3 as
audible,
the
sir.
RMS. What else?
Sir, your voice is little
Breaking, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Is it fine now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Darshini, can you again go a little away from the mic? It's coming too loud. Okay. So if for the same amount of time, guys, if you for the same amount of time, you're sending alternating current and you're sending direct current, if in the same amount of time, the same amount of heat is generated across both the resistors, then this EMF is what is called as the RMS EMF, or we call it as E virtual or E div. Okay. So let's see how to derive. So first I will derive for I. I'll derive for the value of IRMS in terms of I naught. We will replace IRMS with ERMS and I naught with E naught. That's going to give us the answer. Now I'm taking the circuit with alternating source. For the circuit with alternating source, is the current I is equal to I naught into sine omega t. Now tell me one thing: is this value of current a constant value or a varying value? Is it an instantaneous value or a constant value? Tell me that.
Instantaneous.
Instantaneous value, because it is varying with respect to time. So what is the only formula that we know for heat across a resistor? The formula for heat across a resistor is I square
RT.
R into T. Let me say the time is. But what happens here is, it is not possible for us to calculate the total heat at a single step, because the value of current that we are using here, so according to H is equal to I square RT, this I stands for the direct current. So here we don't have the, rather than saying direct current, I can say it's a steady state current. Okay. So for this I value to be constant, what I'm going to do is, instead of finding H, we are going to find dH. So what will be the value of dH? dH will be equal to I square into the resistance R into, instead of time t, for a small time dt, what I can assume is this dt is taken in such a small value that the value of I is equal to I naught sin omega t can be assumed constant for this time interval. Okay, so dH is equal to I square into R into dt. Okay, or else, to put it in a simpler way, if at all you have instantaneous current in your hand, you always have to integrate it. So for you to integrate, you always need to form a differential equation. The differential equation that you have formed is dH is equal to I square into R into dt. So dH is equal to, what is the value of I? I is I naught sine square omega t into dt. I hope it is clear till this step. Now to calculate the total heat, we are going to integrate which value? I naught sine square omega t R into dt. Since you are integrating, observe, you are integrating with respect to time. Here I am going to take the limits as 0 to capital T, where capital T stands for one time period.
Sir,
Are you able to understand? Yeah, tell me.
sir, I naught square will come, sir.
Yeah, I naught square. I naught square sine square omega t into R into dt. Is there any doubt till this step? You can take it for any amount of time. For easier calculation, I've taken it for a complete cycle. Okay. So here, what can I take out of the integral? I naught square and R can be taken out. Integral of 0 to t into square t into dt. This is the value of heat produced across how much time? So this is the amount of heat produced in how much time, guys?
Complete cycle.
One complete cycle. Got it? In one complete cycle. Okay. So this is the heat produced by the alternating source in one complete cycle. So when I use a direct source, what will be the amount of heat that is produced? So heat is equal to I square R into capital T. Can I directly write it? Because the formula for heat is I square RT. But what should be the value of I here? This I is what is called as the RMS value. Because RMS is the DC value, I naught is the AC value. Have this in your mind. So I square R into T. Is there any doubt in these two steps? So if I take this as 1, this as 2. So if you observe, the amount of heat produced by the alternating source is this much value mathematically. The amount of heat produced by direct source is this much value. So according to the definition, if 1 is equal to 2, then this current will become the IRMS current. Okay. So IRMS square into R into T is equal to I naught square into R into integral of 0 to T sine square omega T dt. So what will get cancelled? R and R are gone. So I RMS square is equal to I naught square into, you don't have a formula for sine square omega t. So 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2 into dt. Okay. So this value will be equal to I RMS square is equal to I naught square. I'm taking the 2 outside, integral of 0 to t dt minus integral of 0 to capital T cos 2 omega t dt. Okay, observe this carefully. So I RMS square is equal to I naught square by 2. So did I leave a capital T? Yeah. So I left a capital T. I naught square into, what is the integral of dt between 0 to capital T? It is going to be capital T minus integral of sine cos omega t. It is sine 2 omega t divided by
2 omega.
By 2 omega. From where to where? From 0 to capital T. Okay. So this will be I RMS square into T is equal to I naught square by 2 into capital T minus, you substitute the upper limit. Okay. Sine 2 into omega. Omega is 2 pi by capital T. Okay. 2 into 2 pi by capital T into, in the place of T, we are going to substitute capital T minus sine 0 the whole divided by 2 omega This T and T will get cancelled.
Sir, can you scroll up?
Yes, sir. Can you scroll?
Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did you see the complete derivation which I showed? So you guys saw it till here, right? IRMS is equal to 0.707 times I naught.
Yes, sir.
Sir, only
Yes,
can you
sir.
scroll? This step. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So could you scroll up a little more up from the
Sorry?
from the direct source?
I didn't get you.
So could you scroll up to the direct source then?
Here? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Or else wait, what I'll do, after the class, I'll share this document. You need not sit and copy it now. Have this point in your mind. IRMS is equal to 0.70 times 7 times I naught. Or you can write it as I naught by root 2. So what will be the value of ERMS then? It will be 0.707 times E naught. Right? So the previous class, I ended with the question. So what are all the values you have learned? Instantaneous value, peak value, average value, and RMS value. So we get 220 volt at our house, right? This 220 volt is out of all the 4 voltages, which voltage does it represent?
RMS.
RMS.
It represents the RMS voltage. That is why this concept is very, very important. Okay. We'll do few problems which are based on this. Okay. That is very important. You need to understand this concept for you to proceed with the other parts. Let's do few problems. So if you have made a note of this point alone, I'll go to the next page. Shall I move?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
See, I'm showing you an assignment, right? So this assignment, what I will do is I'll upload it in the app. So I want you guys to try it. I think there are 13 or 14 problems in this. 16. Yeah, there are 16 problems in this. I think I'll be able to do 4 to 5. The remaining 10 problems, I want you to do it and upload it by tomorrow. Okay. So I'll be writing it. If there is any doubt, get it clarified. Okay. So your assignment will also have the same thing. It will have all the formulae like this. Your work is only to solve them. The only thing is you will not have the space and all. It will be continuous. Write it in a separate paper, upload it. Okay, let's start. So the electric mains in a house are marked 220 volt and 50 hertz. Write down the equation for the instantaneous voltage. So what is the formula for, what is the equation of instantaneous voltage? E is equal to E naught sine omega t. Right. Now what is the given data?
ERMS.
So given data, E RMS is given. So E RMS is equal to 220. So if we know that E RMS is equal to E naught divided by root 2. So what will be the value of E naught then? E naught will be 220 into root 2. Okay. So what is this 220 into root 2? This value, you can remember it, is 311. Okay. So E naught into root 2 is 311. Means the voltage, the peak, the alternating current which is reaching our home has a peak value of how much? It has a peak value of 311. But it has an RMS 220 volt. That is why you are able to maintain it at a constant value, or else all the devices would have got spoiled. They cannot withstand the fluctuations. Okay. So omega, how do I find? So E is equal to E naught, that is 311. Sine of omega is nothing but 2 pi into F. Correct? Yes, 2 pi into F. So F is 50. So 50 into 2 is 100. 100 into 3.14. That is 340. So 311 sine 314 t. So this is going to be the value of the instantaneous EMF. Right? I hope it's a simple one.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So do not forget to write the units, okay? You'll lose marks for that.
Sir, how did you get 314?
314 because see, 2 into F, F is 50.
Oh, okay.
Two,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't see that.
So 314 radian per second. Have that in your mind, okay? Clear, guys? Shall I move on to the next problem then? Yeah. So the next one is, you have an electric bulb which operates at 12 volt DC. If this bulb is connected to an AC source and gives normal brightness, what would be the peak value of the source? So what have they given you? They have given you the DC value. But what is the DC equivalent of all the devices that you use at home? E average or ERMS?
Average.
Average.
RMS.
E RMS only, because the hint here is they told you normal brightness. So bulb will work on the principle of heating effect of current. Means same amount of heat is getting generated. Means it should be an RMS value. Okay, nowhere in this chapter they'll give you average value. Average value is only for you guys to know. Okay, everything that you're dealing is, every value of DC that you're dealing is only RMS. Have this point in your mind. So ERMS is given as 12 volt. And they're asking what is the peak value. So we know that ERMS is equal to E naught divided by root 2, which implies E naught will be equal to 12 root 2, 12 into root 2, 16 point something, 16.9, I guess. So that is approximated to 17 volt. Okay, that is the answer. Clear?
Yes, sir.
We'll go to the next problem. Next, you guys try this out. So the peak value of an alternating voltage applied to a 50 ohm resistor. So given data is, you have a resistor of 50 ohm and you have applied an alternating voltage whose peak value is 10 volt. Find the RMS current. Find the RMS current. And ERMS is E naught by root 2. So 10 divided by root 2, or it is 5 root 2. Okay, it is 5 root 2 volt. So what will IRMS be equal to? IRMS will be equal to ERMS divided by R. Am I right? So it is 5 root 2 divided by 50. So it will be 1 by 10. Right. So root 2 is 1.414 divided by 10 is going to be 0.1414 ampere. Or this can also be written as 100 that is 1.4 milliampere. Right? Any doubt in this? Simple, right? So that is the first part of the question. Find the RMS current. The second part is, if the voltage frequency is 100 hertz, write the equation of instantaneous current. Can you guys write the equation of instantaneous current? E is equal to, they're asking the equation for instantaneous current. So I is equal to I naught sine omega t. Now tell me, what should I write in the place of I naught?
Ten by five.
E naught by R.
10 by 5.
50.
E naught by R
10 by 50,
into sine omega t. Yes. So omega is equal to 2 pi into f. That is 2 pi into 100. So 2 into 100, 200 into 3.14 or 6.28 into 100. How much is it? 628.
28.
So it is 628 radian per second. So this is E naught by R. E naught is 10 divided by R is how much? 50 here. Sine how much? 628 t. So how much will it be? Okay, they have reported the answer in terms of milliampere. So this and this will get cancelled. It will be 0.02. Sorry, it will be 0.2. That you can write it as 200 sine of 628 is left as 2 pi f only. That is 200 pi into t milliampere. So you can read the answer either in terms of ampere or milliampere. Still, you will get marks. There is any doubt? Let me know.
Sir, usually we leave it in SI unit only, no, sir.
Yeah, you can leave it. But generally, they will see to it that the peak value and all are in terms of hundreds. That is why they wanted to write it. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
will the questions be in this type only, sir?
Not everything. This is very basic. But you have to understand this to do the other problems.
Okay, okay,
I started with a disclaimer. I told you, this chapter is not that easy.
okay.
To make you confident, I'm teaching all these things. The next one. Shall I move on to the next one, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But
sir.
the voice is a little.
Voice is breaking, huh?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Let's see. I'll try my best. So calculate the RMS value of alternating current shown in the figure. Okay. So here we cannot go with the actual definition of this RMS value. Like, what did I say? You will have to calculate the amount of heat produced and all those things. No. So now I'm going to explain you another way to solve this problem. RMS means what? Root mean square. Right? So you need to take the mean of the squares. So mean of the squares is I1 square plus I2 square plus so on till IN square, the whole divided by n. What is this?
So root of that divided by n only, sir.
No. What is this thing? What have we written?
Oh, mean square.
Mean value.
I've written mean square. So if I take root, it is a square root. Okay, this is another way to derive the expression for RMS value also. We could have done this also there, but I wanted to go according to the definition. Okay, so this is the value. So for me to calculate the RMS value, how many half cycles are they given here? There's one half cycle, there's one half cycle, there's one
Three.
half. So there are 3 half cycles. No? So for 3 half cycles, if you observe for the first half cycle, if I ask you what is the peak value, what will you say?
2 ampere.
So IRMS will be equal to square root of peak value for the first cycle plus peak value for the second cycle plus peak value for the third cycle square, the whole divided by the number of half cycles. Okay, so this will be equal to square root of, I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Okay, you will, I know what doubt you will get. I'll explain it. So here I naught square is 2 square plus minus 2 square plus 2 square, the whole divided by 3. So how much is this?
2.
Root of 4.
Root of 4. So 12 by 3. So that will be 2 ampere. So here the RMS value is also equal to 2 ampere. Okay. So the question here is, why didn't I use the same formula of peak when we had a value like this? When I had a sinusoidal graph in hand, I could have done the same thing. No, why didn't we do? If it is so easy, why did we complicate using integrals?
It's not continuous. This is discrete, sir.
Here also it is continuous only. This is continuous. This is a square graph. This is continuous. I am drawing it. See.
Sir, the area is constant.
It's not about the area. The instantaneous current is a constant. It is not the area actually. It is the instantaneous current that is constant. Whereas in the case of sinusoidal graph, what is happening? The instantaneous current is changing from point to point. So like this graph is a square wave. Square wave. Whereas this kind of a graph is called as a sinusoidal graph. Okay. So try to understand the difference. Whenever you have the sinusoidal graph, you need to go with integration. Whenever you have square, you can just go with the average values. Make this as important and practice it again. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next one. The electric current in a circuit is given by I is equal to I naught T divided by 4. Calculate the RMS current for the value T is equal to 0 to T is equal to tau. So how to do this again? So you don't have a formula. You cannot write it as 0.63. Here, can I write the answer as 0.707 times I naught?
No,
Why?
because the time period, the cycle is changing.
Because the function itself is different. See, 0.707 times I naught is applicable only for a sine wave or a cosine wave. Okay, whereas here it is not a function of sine or cos, it is something else. So how do I proceed? So observe, here I need to go with integration because it is a function of time. The instantaneous current is a function of time, so no other option, integration. So square root of, observe the way I'm writing. So in the previous problem, it was not a function of time, it was constant, so I directly took the peak value. Whereas here, I need to take the instantaneous value and square it. So I'm going to write I square into dt, the whole divided by dt, between the time interval 0 to tau and between the time interval 0 to tau. So integral 0 to tau. Okay. So first I will do for, so integral of 0 to tau dt is equal to, sorry, integral of 0 to t, sorry, tau dt is equal to tau only when you integrate it. Right. So integral of 0 to tau, I'm integrating the numerator, I square dt is equal to, tell me guys, 0 to tau. In the place of I can write it as I naught square t square
by 2.
by tau times dt. Am I right? So what all will come out of the integral?
I naught
I
square.
naught by tau will come out of the integral. Integral of 0 to tau t square dt. Tell me.
T cube by
That will
3.
be tau cube by 3. Can I directly write it? Okay, I'll write an extra step. T cube by 3 from 0 to tau. So I naught square by tau into, it will be tau cube divided by 3 minus 0. I hope it is clear. So I naught square by tau into tau cube divided by 3. So this and this will get cancelled. So I naught square tau square divided by 3. So let this be equation number 1. I'm using 2 and 3 in 1. What do I get? I RMS will be equal to square root of, what is the value of numerator? I naught square tau square divided by 3. What is the value of the denominator?
Tau.
One minute.
Sir, in the second step, how's the t square by tau?
Yeah. Now it's right. This is clear?
So can you explain it again, the first step?
See, listen. Integral of 0 to tau I square. In the place of I just substituted this thing. I naught tau by tau, I substituted. So it is I naught square tau square divided by, sorry, t square divided by tau square into dt. So what I do is, I take the constants outside. I naught square by tau square, I took it outside. So integral of 0 to tau, t square dt. So when you integrate it, you get t cube by 3. Substitute the limits, you will get
Yes, sir, I
square
got
by tau,
you.
tau cube by 3. So this will be root of 3 is root 3 divided by root 3 is 10. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So ஒரே நிமிஷம், can you show up? I'll copy.
Yeah.
That's the first equation.
So you can treat it like a formula also. Done?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay. So we'll do one last problem. We can go to the next concept. If the effective value of current in 50 Hertz AC circuit is 5 ampere. Okay. So I effective means what?
RMS.
Again RMS. So I effective is 5 ampere and the frequency given is 50 Hertz and it's an AC circuit. What is the peak value of the current? So peak value is equal to root 2 times I effective. So that is 5 root 2 ampere. 5 into root 2 is 7.707. Okay. Next. The mean value of the current over the half cycle. So mean value of the current over half cycle is what? I average is equal to 0.637 times I naught. Right. So this will be 0.637 times. What is the value of I naught? 5.
5 root.
So when you multiply this, you will get an answer. Those many amperes is the average value. The answer is given there.
Sir, I naught is 5 root 2.
No, I naught is 5. No? Oh, 5 root 2. Sorry.
5 root 2, sir.
Yeah, 5 root 2. So the value of current 1 by 300 seconds after it was 0. Actually, there is a second, okay? The value of current 1 by 300 seconds after it was 0. So they're asking you the instantaneous current. I is equal to I naught sine omega t. So I naught is how much? 5 root 2 into sine of, what is the value? 2 pi
304.
314.
f50. This will go sine of pi by 3. So 5 root 2 into, did you understand why I substituted 1 by 300 here? Because they told after 1 by 300 seconds from the starting. Okay, sine pi by 3, that is root 3 by 2. You calculate this value, that will give you the answer. Again, the answer is given here. Okay. Are you done?
Done, sir.
Okay. Listen. So we will see the next important concept is phasors and phasor diagram. This is a very, very important. This has only this concept. You need to understand this to draw the diagrams for the given scenarios. Okay. So the definition here is, so first we are going to see what a phasor is. So phasor is nothing but a rotating vector. So it is a rotating vector that it is not then a rotating vector that represents a sinusoidally varying quantity is what is called as a phasor. Okay. If you have a rotating vector in your hand, which is drawn as a replace, which is actually used to represent a sinusoidally varying quantity. When I say sinusoidally, it can either be sine function or cosine function. So are you able to understand? So if you want me to put it in very simple terms, phasor is nothing but a rotating vector. And that rotating vector is going to represent which physical quantity? The physical quantity which is a function of sine or cosine. Okay. In this chapter, which quantity is represented in terms of sine and cosine?
Peak current.
The current and the voltage. We write it in terms of sine or cosine. Right? I told you I naught cos omega t is also right, and E naught cos omega t is also right. So if suppose in your school they are teaching in terms of cos, don't get confused. Cos is also a sinusoidal function. Even at that time, you can use a rotating vector. Okay, is that clear? So what we are going to do is, instead of drawing the graph every time, we will be using the phasor diagram to analyze something. Let's see what we are going to do. So there are some important points given. Make a note of it. So this vector is imagined to rotate with an angular velocity equal to the angular frequency of the quantity. Means this would, for example, if I try to draw the rotating vector for I naught sine omega t, I need to assume that the vector is rotating with what angular velocity? With an angular velocity of omega. Okay. The next important point. Its length represents the amplitude of the quantity, and its projection upon the fixed axis gives the instantaneous value of the quantity. I'll explain what it is. Wait for it. Next. The phase angle between the two quantities is shown as a phase angle between the phasors. So what do you mean by phase angle is, for example, if I ask you what is the phase angle between these two quantities, what will you say?
5/6.
5/6.
Yes. So that's what we call it as phase difference also. So phase angle between the quantities is, so which two quantities? Phase angle between the EMF and the instantaneous current is given by 5/6. Plus 5/6 or minus 5/6 is not my concern. As of now, I told it's a difference. So difference means when you try to subtract the phase quantities, you will get 5/6. That's it. Are you guys able to understand till this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how a phasor diagram will look like. No, I'll directly take an example. So you're able to see this circle, no? So I'm going to draw and show you. I'll draw and show you. Say suppose I take this as x-axis and this as y-axis. See, when you draw here, you will be drawing two things. So maybe confusion that will arise. One is you will draw a graph, and the second is you will draw phasor diagrams. So when you draw the graphs, okay, x-axis will be time, and the y-axis will be the physical quantity which is varying with respect to time. It can be either EMF or current. Because if you observe, current is also a function of time, and potential difference is also a function of time. That is, the EMF is also a function of time. Okay. Whereas when you draw the phasor diagram, you don't take anything on the x or y axis. It is just x-axis and y-axis. So it is normal x and normal y. The first point to be noted. Clear with this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now listen. I'm going to implement each important point that is given with respect to phasor diagram. So what is a phasor? It is a rotating vector.
Yes, sir.
Simple. So it is a vector which is taken in the rotating form. Means when it is rotating, the vector will be covering the circumference of a circle. Am I right? So if I give you a quantity like this, easy to E naught t, you need to look at this angle. So omega t is the angle which the vector is making with respect to which axis?
X-axis.
X-axis.
Exactly. Okay. Told as if this rotating with an angular frequency means the initially this vector would have been on the x-axis. The anti-clockwise.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm saying is initially the vector would have been along x-axis. Okay. Then it has rotated, and in time t, it has covered an angle of omega t. So if I ask you what is the speed with which this vector is revolving, what will you say?
Omega.
Omega t. Omega.
That's it. Ask omega. Second point, the length represents the amplitude of the quantity. So this is O, this is A. Out of E is equal to E naught sine omega t, which one represents amplitude and which one represents instantaneous value?
E naught amplitude.
E naught is the peak value.
Amplitude.
Peak value.
That is a peak value, or we call it as amplitude. Both are same. And this is going to give me the instantaneous value.
Instantaneous.
So instantaneous value. So here, what are they trying to say? The length of the phasor represents the amplitude of the quantity. So OA is equal to E naught. Important point to be noted. Okay, make a note of it. OA is equal to E naught. Clear? Similarly, and its project upon a fixed axis gives the instantaneous value of the quantity. So let me explain what means by projection. So this is a mathematical term, observe. So if I have a line like this, okay, let us say I have a vector in my hand, OA, projection of a vector on a line, it is very simple. Means from the endpoints of the vector, you need to drop the perpendiculars. So if you drop the perpendicular, this point is called as the foot of the perpendicular, and M is also called as the foot of the perpendicular. So what have you done? You have projected A on whom? So projection of A on line is projection of the vector perpendicular. You will get 2 foot of the perpendicular. The distance between those 2 foot perpendiculars of the line projected is what is called as projection of a vector on a line.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Sir, ಕೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ sir.
So till where what did you people hear?
Till before the projection part, sir.
Projection part, sir.
Okay, so this part is clear, right? When I told the foot of the perpendicular and all, you guys understood, right?
Sir.
So from the ends of a vector, when you drop perpendiculars, so from the two ends, if you drop, how many foot of the perpendiculars will you get? From two ends, if you're dropping 2 perpendiculars, you will have 2 foot of the perpendiculars. So the distance between those 2 foot of the perpendiculars is what is called as projection of OA on the particular line. Are you guys able to understand this?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
no. Is it clear? So I'm repeating the phasor concept again. Listen to it carefully. Next onwards, I'll not draw. You people have to draw. I'm explaining all the basics needed to draw. Concentrate. So E is equal to E naught sine omega t means if I take this as OA, the angle made by the vector with the x-axis is omega t in which direction? In the anti-clockwise direction. Am I clear with this? So OA will be equal to E naught. Now, what do you mean by the projection of OA on the fixed axis? How many fixed axes do you have here?
2.
2. It can be on the x or it can be on the y. Okay, if I drop the perpendicular, what did I say the distance OA is? It is E naught. Okay, if I say this is P and this is M, then what is this OP? Then
E naught
OP is called as the
cos
projection of projection of the vector OA on which axis?
X-axis.
X-axis.
X-axis, right? So if this I write as X, then what is X by E naught equal to?
Cos theta. No, cos
Cos
omega t.
omega t.
Cos omega t.
So here X will be equal to E naught cos omega t. Similarly, what will this distance be? It will be E naught sine omega t. So E naught sine omega t represents what?
Instantaneous EM.
It is the instantaneous value. That is what they have given in this point. Observe it clearly. So the length represents gives the instantaneous value of the quantity. So every particular parameter has how many instantaneous quantities. You can define it either in terms of sine or cos. Since we are trying to define in terms of sine, all our phasor diagrams should have which projection? Should it have projection on y-axis or x-axis?
Y-axis.
All the diagrams that we are going to draw will have the projection on the y-axis. If suppose the same thing is given in terms of cos, you see it in the exam paper, then it should be a projection on the x-axis. Have this point in it. This is clear. And the last point is, they told the phase angle between two quantities is shown as the phase angle between their phasors. For example, 1 minute. See, the main reason for using the phasor diagram is for us to understand the phase difference between the physical quantities. That is what we are going to see from the next chapter. for
Sir, voice is
so
breaking.
for E0.
The voice is breaking, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now is it better?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now see. Now I want to draw the phasor diagram for I is equal to I naught into sine of omega t plus phi. So I already have E naught to make an angle of omega t with the x-axis. Now if I need to draw for I naught sine omega t with respect to omega t, see, listen carefully. Listen to it carefully. Okay. This is anti-clockwise, this clockwise. You already know this. I'm repeating it. Now if I want to draw the phasor diagram for I naught sine omega t plus phi in the same graph, should I rotate the vector in the anti-clockwise? So should I rotate the vector with an angle phi more in the anti-clockwise direction or less in the clockwise direction? For I naught sine omega t plus phi, sorry, I didn't get it. Should I rotate the vector for I naught sine omega t plus phi in the anti-clockwise direction or clockwise direction and stop? So what I'm trying to ask is, if I try to draw the value of current, so this is for EMF, will the current be like this or like this? I1 or I2? Which one is right?
Anti-clockwise.
So
I1.
I1 is right, because what is it telling? The vector makes an angle of omega t plus phi. Right? You already made an angle of omega t. So to this, if you add a plus phi, it will be somewhere over here. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, sir.
And one more important point to be noted here is the value, the peak value of EMF and the peak value of current will never be the same. That happens in reality. Unless the value of the resistor that you're using is 1. I'm repeating it again. The peak value of EMF will not be equal to the peak value of current unless you use a resistor of value 1. But that is a very rare case. Okay, in reality, it doesn't happen. So logically, one more important question I'm going to ask. OA should be greater than OB or OA should be less than OB. So what does the length of the vector represent?
Amplitude.
Amplitude.
Length of peak value. So by writing OA greater than OP, I'm trying to say the peak value of E naught, the peak value of EMF is greater than the peak value of current. By writing OA less than OB, I'm trying to say that the peak value of EMF is less than the peak value of current, which is right. E naught greater than I naught, E naught less than I naught. So what will happen in reality?
E naught less than
E naught will be greater than I naught. Because E naught is the input. The input will always be greater than the output. Right? Only if you give input, only if you give the potential difference, it can take the current. Right? You cannot give less energy and generate more energy out of it. That doesn't happen. There will be dissipation of energy that is taken. So observe clearly.
So your voice is breaking again.
The voice is breaking.
What will this angle be? This angle will be
Omega t plus phi.
omega phi
Right.
accepted.
Yes, sir.
So what will be the difference between
Phi.
how much extra has
I can't hear anything.
phi? Phase 1 minute. Now is it fine? My net is full. I don't know what is the issue.
Okay, sir.
I have complete
Upward.
signal.
Upwards.
Are you able to hear?
Yes, now you get.
Okay.
Now it's
Yes,
okay,
sir.
sir.
Right? Yes. See, listen. So the third point, the phase angle between the two quantities shows the phase difference between the phases. Are you guys able to understand? So This tells me how much is the phase difference between which two quantities in this case, between the current and the voltage. Okay, throughout this chapter, we will be dealing with one important concept, that is the phase difference between both. So depending on the phase difference, you'll be learning two technical names called as lagging and leading. Okay, so these are the two important concepts you'll be learning. For example, so how we are going to apply this? In this example, what I've considered, I'm going to say that the current is the current leading or lagging the voltage? Is it having
Leading.
so current
Leading,
is
sir.
leading the voltage by how much angle?
5.
5.
Five. So that is how you report the answer. Current is leading the voltage by an angle of 5. Similarly, if you have to report about EMF in terms of current, EMF is lagging the current by 5. Okay, so that is what we do. So this is the base of this chapter. Okay, and did you understand what phasors are? These vectors are what are called as phasors, and this diagram is what is called as a phasor diagram. Got it, guys? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Now I will show you the important part. Listen. So now you can relate to the diagram better. So you're able to see the diagram? So they have given you the instantaneous EMF and the instantaneous current. Okay. So this is what happens. So that's why you can ask me why we use this phasor diagram. It is because you look at the last point. The study of AC circuits is greatly simplified if we treat alternating currents and voltages as phasors. Only thing is, see, logically thinking, EMF and current are scalar quantities. Okay, but what we are trying to do is we are trying to take the help of vectors and represent the EMF and current in terms of phasor diagrams so that our understanding becomes easy. Because graphical analysis is slightly tougher. Are you guys able to understand this? Now, keeping this point in mind, I'm going to explain you the concept of. So what we are going to see from now onwards is you will have an AC source. The AC source will be connected across 3 passive elements. So till now, what are all the passive elements that we have learned? So you know what are passive elements? So when you talk about current electricity, okay, in the field of current electricity, you have 2 types of elements. What are they? One is active element and the second is passive element. So what do you mean by active elements? You can just guess.
Constant.
Sorry?
Constant.
No. Active. See, if you don't know this point, you can make a note of it. Active elements are the one. No, they take part. Active elements are the elements which supply energy to the circuit. Active elements supply energy to the circuit. So what is the general active element that we use to supply energy to the circuit?
Battery.
Battery is the best example. Okay, battery is one of the examples, or you can think of a charged capacitor. A capacitor which is charged can also supply energy to the system. So that is also an example of an active element. Is that clear? So then what are passive elements? The elements which make use of, it need not be resisting also. The elements which make use of the energy supplied. So what are all the elements that make use of the energy that we supply? The 3 important passive resistors, inductors,
Capacitor.
and capacitors. So these are the 3. So from now on, what we are going to do is, see, this is where the confusion will start. Many people feel it tough. See, but according to me, I will not say it is tough. If you guys concentrate, I can make it easy, but you need to concentrate and ask relevant doubts. Concentrate, okay? So this chapter is all about connecting an AC source, you're able to see an AC source, connecting an AC source across an inductor individually, across a capacitor individually. Are you guys able to understand? So what we will do is we will connect it across a resistor and see what will happen. We'll connect this alternating source across an inductor and see what is going to happen. We'll connect it across a capacitor and see what is going to happen. So by doing so, how many cases are generated?
3.
Three cases, right? Next, what we will do is we will take 2-2 combinations. 2-2 combinations in the sense we will connect it across resistor and inductor. We'll connect it across resistor and capacitor. Okay. There is no concept of connecting it across inductor and capacitor because that's a special type of circuit that we'll learn at the end. So now how many scenarios have come? Resistor and inductor, resistor and capacitor. How many scenarios? Resistor and inductor, resistor and capacitor. That's it. It is only 2 scenarios. And the last combination of all is resistor, inductor, and capacitor. That is 1 scenario. So totally, how many scenarios you will be learning?
6.
You will be learning 6. So resistor, inductor, capacitor individually. Resistor and inductor, resistor and capacitor, actually, you can connect them in series and parallel. So if you try to break them into series and parallel connection, then 4 combinations will come. But what we will be learning is resistor and inductor, resistor and capacitor only in series. Okay, that is why we call it as series RC or series RL circuit. Okay, if suppose you talk about LCR, we call it as series LCR circuit. Are you guys able to understand? So most of the problems are based on the last concept, but I cannot directly jump to the last concept without these basics. So if you're clear with this particular outline, I'll proceed.
Sir, L represents inductor, sir.
L represents inductor. C represents capacitor.
What is an inductor?
Sorry?
What is an inductor?
Your voice is not audible.
What is an inductor?
What is an inductor? We saw it in the previous chapter. Something like this.
So that's basically anything that uses current to produce a field and then induce a current, right?
It is not to induce the current. Inductor's main work is to oppose the change of current.
Oh, okay, that's it.
So can I start? So write on the first heading, AC source across a resistor. AC source across a resistor. And those kind of circuits are called as purely resistive circuits. Okay. So the heading is AC containing only resistance, or you can say AC source across a resistor. So what is that you have? You will have an AC source and it is connected across a resistor R. Okay. Now the instantaneous EMF of the source is E0 sin omega t, and the resistor has a resistance of capital R. So what is going to be the value of instantaneous current? We know that V is equal to I into R. So E is nothing but E0 sin omega t is equal to I into R. So from this, what can I write? I will be equal to E0 divided by R into sin omega t. What can I call this E0 by R as?
I not.
I not.
So I equal to I0 sin omega t. Right? Is this clear? There is a simplest derivation possible. Okay. So I'm repeating the steps. Okay. I'll write it separately. Concentrate. Since you're seeing it for the first time, concentrate. I'm going to tell you how you are supposed to write it in the exam. So when they ask you to explain what happens when an AC source is connected across a resistor, the first thing is draw an AC source, draw a resistor. Okay, this is E0 sin omega t. This is I. So I will be equal to E0 sin omega t divided by R. This E0 by R is what we call it as I0. So I0. sine omega t. Okay. Now for every circuit, what you're supposed to do is, for every circuit, we need to draw the phasor diagram and the graphical representation. Okay. So just now I taught you what is phasor diagram. So what are the two quantities you have in your hand? E is equal to E naught sine omega t. I will be equal to I naught sine omega t. Now how will you draw the phasor diagram for them? So if I drop a perpendicular, then what can I call this distance as?
Projection.
This E naught, then this will be E naught.
Sine omega t.
Now what is the phase difference between current and EMF?
0.
It is 0. Means what will happen is the current will also rotate and it will come and stop here, but it will have a lesser magnitude. Then what will this height be? It will be I naught sine omega t. Are you guys able to understand? So this is the phasor diagram for an alternating source connected across a resistor. Is there any doubt in this point?
So the black arrow is I, sir.
It is correct.
Yeah, okay.
I hope you understood. Right, this is a phasor diagram, as simple as that. Now, look at the way I'm going to draw the graphical representation. Time. See, when you're drawing the graph, you will not draw two individual graphs. You will draw the graph for EMF and current at the same graph. Okay. So, E naught sine omega t plus phi is going to look like this. Right? Positive cycle, negative cycle, positive cycle. This is E naught sine omega t. Am I clear? Okay. Now, what is the value of I naught sine omega t? So, how much is the time it takes to complete one cycle? So, I is also taking the same amount of time to complete the cycle because we are saying it is sine omega t. Is there any phase difference? So, wherever current is, wherever the EMF is starting, the current will also start at the same place. But the only thing is, what is the difference in both the graphs that I've drawn?
Amplitude.
The peak value. So,
E naught greater
current
than
has a E naught is greater than I naught. So, in the exam, what they will do is, I told you, no, when they ask you the derivation, you have to do this. Definitely, they will not ask that. They will say an alternating source is connected across a particular device where the EMF and the current are in the same phase. So, indirectly, what have they told you? What is the passive element that you are using?
Resistor.
I'm repeating the question again. Listen. So an alternating source is connected across a passive element in such a way that the EMF and the current are in the same phase. So what device is that?
Resistor.
It's a resistor. So indirectly, instead of directly telling you it's a resistor, they'll put a statement like this, or they can give you a graph like this, or they can give you a phasor diagram like this. It is you who has to analyze that it is a resistor.
Sir, what if the resistor has a decimal value, sir?
What if the resistor has a?
Decimal value.
See, generally that will not happen. Okay. Generally that will not happen. If it has, then you have to say that I naught is greater than E naught. Mathematically, at least.
Oh, yes, sir. That's a yes.
Mathematically, yes, it is.
Okay. Sir, but that won't happen. On the question.
No, that won't happen because electrical circuits need very high resistance. You're talking about the fractional value of resistance only for electronic circuits, like your mobile phones.
Oh, okay.
Here, all the devices I'm trying to talk about is like fan, your tube light,
Okay.
your fridge at home. So these kind of things.
Okay. So what is practically possible?
Yeah, practically that's what happens. They will not use lesser resistance.
Okay.
Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's what the heading is. Okay. So what is the heading? Show that the voltage and current always vary in which phase? The same phase. In an AC circuit containing only resistor. Okay. So what I've shown is, I've shown you the graphical representation. I've shown you the phasor diagram also. Okay. The next is, I will do it across a capacitor instead. I'll just start the derivation. I'll not show you the phasor diagram because time is not there. So now write down the heading. Explain the effect of introducing a capacitor. Sorry, not this thing. This thing. So a sinusoidal EMF is applied to a circuit containing capacitor only. So write down the heading as AC source across a capacitor. So when you have a capacitor and you connect an AC source, now what will happen here is, what is the function of a capacitor? What does it do?
Store the charge.
It stores the charge. So E naught sine omega t. Let's say its capacitance is. Okay. So I know that Q is equal to C into V. Accepted. So Q is equal to C into V. So C into V is E naught sine omega t. So the instantaneous charge that is getting deposited on the plates of the capacitor is given by the expression C into E naught into sine omega t. But what is the expression we want? We want the expression for current. So how do I get current from Q? So I is equal to
IT.
dq by dt. So this will be C into E naught into what is the derivative of sine omega t? That is cos omega t
Into omega.
into omega. Accepted? So this is C omega into E naught cos omega t. See, here the important point comes. Observe it carefully. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write this C omega as 1 by omega C into, I can write cos in terms of sine like this. I can either write it as sine of omega t plus pi by 2, or observe how I'm going to write it. E naught divided by 1 by omega C into sine of pi by 2 minus omega t. Right? This one is right, or this one is also right. So is there any doubt till this step? So input voltage is E naught sine omega t, and the current is coming out as E naught divided by 1 by omega C into cos omega t. Cos omega t is either sine pi by 2 plus theta or sine pi by 2 minus theta. Both are right. But the question is, you cannot have two values. So which one is right?
Pi by 2 minus.
This is wrong because what is the value of input voltage? Input voltage is in terms of omega t, right? So I need to ensure output is also having omega t. So if it should have omega t, then only option that is possible is plus pi by 2. Whereas here, what is happening? It is having minus omega t. Okay, so we write it as E naught divided by 1 by omega c into sine of omega t plus pi by 4. Is there any doubt till this step?
No.
So I is equal to E naught divided by this 1 by omega c into sine of, observe the terms I'm going to introduce. So previous derivation was easy. E naught by R is what you call it as I naught. Okay. So in the case of resistor, you had E naught by R, which we called it as I naught. So in the place of resistance, what do you have?
1 by
You have
omega.
1 by omega c. So capacitor cannot have a property called as resistance. Capacitor has a property called as capacitance. That capacitance is restricted to the property of storing the charge. Whereas here, if I observe mathematically, it is telling me that current is inversely proportional to this quantity, and this particular quantity is called as reactance. Okay, so reactance is nothing but the resistance offered by whom?
Capacitor.
The capacitor. So this reactance, to be more specific, it is called as capacitive reactance. Okay, and it is represented by the symbol xc, and xc will be equal to 1 by omega c. Okay, capital X represents reactance. If you write a suffix c, it represents for capacitor, so it is called as capacitive reactance. Okay, so putting all these things together, what can I say? Can I write it like this? Observe. Can I write it like I is equal to I naught sine of omega t plus pi by 2? Then what is the value of E you had? E is equal to E naught sine omega t. If I ask you which one is leading the other, what will you say?
E.
Look at the expression.
Current is leading.
I, sir.
Current is leading the voltage by how much value?
Pi by 2.
Pi by
Pi by
2.
2. So I is leading the voltage by pi by 2, or voltage is leading the voltage is
Lagging.
lagging the
Lagging
current
by pi 2.
The leading and lagging is based on phase angle only, no?
based on phase angle only. So since this is having plus pi by 2, I is leading. Had it been omega t minus pi by 2, then it would have been lagging. Okay, have this point in your mind. So next class I will continue from here only. So till here you revise and come. And I will share the worksheet also. Ensure you complete and submit it by tomorrow. Okay, don't ask me for extra time. I'm giving you 1 day time. You saw how much time it took. 6 problems, we did it in 10 to 15 minutes. You guys can also do it fast. Okay,
Sir, can you scroll it up a little bit?
this one.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Done, sir.
So, see, I told it as reactive, and in bracket I wrote it as capacitance, capacitive, right? It is actually called as capacitive reactance. Have this in your mind. Okay. So with this, I'm ending the session. Is there any doubt?
No.
Okay, just wait for a minute. Sir, can you send today's notes? Yes, I'll do it.
Sir?
Yeah, I'll send today's notes.
No, sir. Can you also send the sixth chapter's notes, sir?
I'll do that. Yeah. So just a minute. I'm taking screenshots. Yeah, done. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.